You are listening to the Nightline Sports Network, brought to you by Travis Dever and the Dever team, 386-690-1636.
This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk.
Welcome to Nightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Night Nation's only call-in show goes live now.
All right. Hello, Night Nation. Hello, Orlando. This is Andrew Fagley, and this is Nightline at Night, live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barr Law, assisting injured veterans get the help they deserve. You can give Chad a call, 407-599-9036, or visit protectingvets.com. You can also call Travis Dever for all your New Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636. And if you need a new or used car, truck, or Jeep, you can give me a call, Andrew Fagley, at 386-736-3000, 386-736-3000, or you can come and visit me at D-Land Dodge Jeep Chrysler Ram, and I'll get you something going for a car. We're taking your calls, 844-580-9326, 844-580-9326 today, or you can use the open mic feature in the WDBO app. Once again, I'm Andrew Fagley at AP_Nightline on Twitter. I'm joined by my good friend Jeff Allen. Jeff, good to have you back on here with me. Jeff does a show on the Nightline Sports Network that is AAC conference specific. It's called the AAC Report with Jeff Allen. Jeff, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, Andrew. It's great to be back with you, as always, to talk some UCF sports.
Yeah, thank you for filling in kind of last minute. You're a UCF guy, but you do the AAC report for us on the Nightline Sports Network. And big things coming up for the AAC. For the basketball tournament. And then there's big things coming up for UCF in the next year or two as well, which we'll get into. Talk about a little bit about that basketball tournament, though. And I don't think there's seeding or anything. We still have a couple of games left, I think, in our regular season, correct?
That is correct. And, like if the conference tournament were to start today, UCF would face off against the Cows in the first round. And the winner of that, which would be the Knights, we would take on Memphis on day two. UCF still sitting on the outside of that top five. The top five teams get that first day bye, which is very important because if you don't get it, you're going to have to win 4 games in 4 days. That's a big mountain to climb. Even if your team is firing all cylinders, that's going to definitely be a fatigue factor. Trying to do 4 and 4. It's not impossible, but it's a much bigger chore for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So UCF still has Tulane and Tulsa coming up March 3rd and March 6th, it looks like. But a big win the other night against Cincinnati, and then East Carolina a couple days before that. This last few games in this stretch, we were talking on here a couple of weeks ago about not being sure whether Johnny Dawkins maybe would be back or maybe would be gone, not at the end of the season, or not in the middle of the season, but maybe the end of the season if this didn't turn out well. It's turned out a lot better than I thought it was going to. Wins against Wichita State, Tulsa, lost to Houston, which was embarrassing, a win against East Carolina, and then just on Wednesday night, this week, a win against Cincinnati, 75-61. That was a good one.
Yeah, that definitely was a good one. They looked as good as they have all season in that contest. And, you talk about the upcoming games for the Knights. Tulane is in the top half of the conference, although they did lose to Temple, or losing to Temple today. They were down by 5. Actually, it's a 2-point game now with 53 seconds left, so maybe that's not quite a loss for Tulane just yet, but they're having a struggle there. And then Tulsa, nothing ever good happens in Tulsa. So hopefully they can get over that hump.
Yeah,
that
we have
that would be important.
at Tulane and at Tulsa. At Tulsa for UCF, if you guys aren't familiar, UCF does not do very well in anything for some reason at Tulsa. I'm not sure why, but it's just always been like that. In football, we cannot win at Tulsa. In basketball, we don't win very much at Tulsa either. So it's some kind of polar vortex or something going on there every time we play them. There's just something going on. I don't know what it is. And Tulsa normally, even if they're not a good team that year, we just don't seem to play well there, which is very odd.
Yeah, and they're not very good this season, although they have lost a lot of close games. But it's just not a place where we do well. And Tulane's going to be tough on the road. They have managed to get some nice home court advantage there in their arena. So they got a lot of excitement going on as far as what Ron Hunter has done with that basketball team.
Yeah,
and you mentioned Johnny Dawkins, and it's a very polarizing topic because he has definitely elevated the program and brought us to new heights and improved the recruiting and the talent level that we've gotten in. But this season has been a little bit of a disappointment. But then I kind of look at things and go, okay, well, who are we going to get? Who is out there? Who's the up and comer that would be the guy to get, or some other established guy? You look at the coaches in this conference that are doing well are usually established guys. You look what Kelvin Sampson's doing with Houston. So it's hard. It's hard to imagine. I was thinking, it hit me the other day that Dawkins has already been here 6 years. It doesn't quite seem that long.
It does not. Yeah.
So
it doesn't seem that long until you start looking at, the advancements that UCF basketball has made in that time. And there have been some advancements. I just feel like for some reason there should have been more. This team, we've talked about it on here for the last couple of weeks. This team, we really thought were going to do a lot better. We thought this was the year that things were just going to get, tremendously better because of the talent on the roster. And it just hasn't happened. It's like you said, it's been disappointing. So I brought up the fact that, maybe we should have moved a little bit farther ahead in the 6 years that he's been here. And, it just seemed like, we've had some embarrassing losses too against Houston. One time when they were ranked number 7, the other time when they were ranked at number 14. And we're getting ready in the next couple of years. I think it's next season for basketball. Maybe it's the season after, but going into the Big 12. So, and that's big time basketball. There is no conference, I don't think, maybe the Big East, but in Power 5 type, conferences, there are no bigger conferences in basketball than the Big 12. The AAC is pretty good as well, but the Big 12 is something completely different.
Yeah, I look at conferences like the Big 10 and the Big 12 being the big conferences, is particularly this season. And maybe you give Dawkins a pass for the COVID season like you would anybody else. It was interesting because I had Tim Brando on my Jeff Allen Sports Talk podcast a couple of weeks ago, and I asked him about Johnny Dawkins. What does he have to do to get this team to be more consistent and more of a perennial entrant into the NCAA tournament? His thought was that, if UCF can stand pat, that going to the Big 12 will be the big benefit for Johnny Dawkins as far as recruiting goes and getting that extra next step caliber of player. But yeah, as you said, it's a little disappointing. This team has been just very inconsistent. They could be hot one half and cold the next, hot for 2 or 3 games and cold for the next 3 or 4. It's very, very hard to put the finger on what exactly that is. I know that I think the biggest thing, Ben Stout and I talked about it on the AAC report this week, that UCF lives and dies by the 3, and when those shots aren't falling, it affects their defense, and their shot selection has been rather sketchy at times. I actually posed the question to Ben, because I think Darren Green Jr. should be more selfish. Now, maybe I should have stated maybe more assertive, because he is the best shooter on the team. Brandon Mahan, I love that he plays hard on defense, but his cold streaks run 2-to-1 to his hot streaks, and he puts up a lot of shots that are ill-advised early in the shot clock. So those instances you kind of wish the Dawkins would put him on the bench when he's doing those kind of things. So yeah, it's a very, very tough topic because I don't want to change coaches just for the sake of change, and we're not a bottom feeding program. So sometimes being stuck in the middle is harder than being either at the top or at the bottom because of that situation.
Right. Well, speaking of Ben Stout, he finally joins us. We were having a little bit of a technical problem. Ben, welcome.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me fine?
We can hear you. Yeah, it's all good.
Sorry about that, guys. I'm glad to finally join you at the end of the first segment here. But,
it's all good. Yeah, we got a couple minutes left. I'm sure you probably heard a little bit what we were talking about. We were talking about the advances that Johnny Dawkins has made in recruiting and things like that, and some of the advances that he didn't make in recruiting and things. And I was telling everybody, and I was telling Jeff about how I said if things didn't go well, maybe Johnny Dawkins' seat was getting a little hotter, and I don't know what you heard and what you didn't there. I know you were on there for a couple minutes.
Yeah, I spoke for you, Ben. So if it ends out to be terrible analysis, it's not your fault.
That's quite all right, Jeff. No, I heard the tail end of what you talked about there. I mean, it's. What's kind of good to see about this team? I mean, we had the kind of anomaly of the COVID-stricken season last year, but where they really couldn't find any type of chemistry as a team throughout the season. But then all of a sudden, towards the end of the season, they started playing really well together and kind of went on a streak. I think they won 7 of their last 8 games, or maybe 6 of their last 7 games, somewhere around that range. And while everything that we've talked about in the weeks prior, and you and I talked about, Jeff, on the AAC report is true, where they've been disappointing in their big opportunities this year. The reality is, since the loss at Memphis, which was certainly a horrible loss on the road, and we did not play very well on the road against Houston, a place that's very tough to play. But the reality is that they've won 4 of their last 5, and there's some things that seem to be clicking on this team. And so we got 2 more regular season games left to try to continue this momentum going into the conference tournament. And so hopefully we can continue this momentum and continue to build upon these wins that we have had in order to make some noise there. We're going to see what happens with this team chemistry, especially on offense, as you just talked about, once Brandon Mahan is able to return from his ankle injury, whether that is against Tulane or at Tulsa, one of these last 2 regular season games. It'll be interesting to see where we go from there, if this offense kind of can continue the flow that we saw against Cincinnati on senior night, which was really quite an impressive game on both ends of the floor for UCF. So,
yeah, well, we're getting ready to take a break here. When we come back, we will talk a lot more about that game against Cincinnati. We'll talk about the games coming up at Tulane and at Tulsa, and we'll get into the tournament, the AAC tournament, and talk a little bit about that. We have also got some news on track. They did something incredible this weekend as well. We'll be right back on Nightline at Night.
An auto accident can change your life forever. At Chad Barr Law, we are raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Hi, I'm Chad Barr, and I want you to know that our entire team is dedicated to providing you with the representation you deserve in your greatest time of need. If you or a loved one have been injured in an auto accident, call 407-599-9036 for a free consultation or visit chadbarlaw.com. At Chad Barr Law, our clients come to us in need and leave as family. Offices, Altamont Springs.
Hey, this is Travis Dever, Kai's Real Estate, the Dever team, New Smyrna Beach. Your source for real estate and everything else, New Smyrna Beach. Proud sponsor of Nightline. Call me anytime at 386-690-1636. That's 386-690-1636. Let me show you my hometown, New Smyrna Beach, UCF's favorite beach. Go Knights and charge on.
Looking for more out of your Porsche? Look no further than Flat6Motorsports.com. They have the widest selection of aftermarket Porsche parts anywhere in the world. With over 85 product lines and in-depth expertise, Flat6Motorsports.com is your one-stop shop for any Porsche performance needs. Whether you're shopping for intakes, exhausts, suspension, or tuning, they have you covered. Flat6Motorsports.com is the premier Porsche aftermarket specialist. Check them out at Flat6Motorsports.com.
And now, back to Nightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Nightline at Night with you. I'm Andrew Fagley. We are live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barlaw. I got Jeff Allen with me from the Jeff Allen Sports Show and the AAC report that you can hear on the Nightline Sports Network, the ladder there. And I got Big Ben Stout with me at Big Social 32 on Twitter. Jeff, you'll have to give your handle on Twitter because I don't know it, to be honest with you.
I am at Jeff Allen _88.
Oh, that's right. It was, yeah, I remember now. Jeff Allen _88 on Twitter. Jeff does a great job with the AAC report for us, talks about the entire AAC, and then he has his own podcast as well, and talks about all kinds of sports on there. So I did want to get into in this little short segment, Ben, you were talking on my drive home. I was getting text messages from you, and you were talking about track and field, and I did see that they won the American Championship track and field.
They did. They won the indoor American track and field championship, and it was apparently a great meet for the UCF track and field team, and in particularly another fantastic performance by Renaya Jones, who just seems to be a superstar on campus right now. She just kind of blows away the field in multiple events. Her best event is going to be any type of 60 meter. Well, it's 60 meters once it's in the indoors, but then they extend that to 100 meters for the outdoor track and field championships. But 60 meter hurdles, that she set a personal record, a school record, and a meet record, AAC championship record in that. Took home the gold for that, but she didn't stop there. 60-meter dash, she won the gold there. 200-meter dash, she won the gold. So she kind of had the trifecta, and she won most valuable performer at that meet. So there was a couple other great performances on the day. Latasha Smith took home the 400-meter dash as well, but really Renaya Jones was kind of the story of the day. She just continues to shine. We were talking about her in the Olympic trials on the last Summer Olympics that we had in 2020, and she just fell short there. But I have no doubt that she is going to continue to progress into being an Olympian one day. And right now her time at UCF is she just kind of racks up the accolades continuously. So it's a pretty special time to have an athlete like that on campus, and she certainly is that.
Okay, and then Jeff, I think you wanted to talk a little bit about softball as well, right?
Yeah, that's right. The Knights, in fact, are having a great weekend at their own tournament and actually playing Florida now as we speak. And they have runners on second and third in the bottom of the first in a scoreless game to this point. But, you look at the weekend they have had, they had the big walk-off. Shannon Doherty, for the second time this season, hit a big 3-run home run in the bottom of the seventh to win it against Ole Miss. They beat JMU and DePaul yesterday, and now taking their shot at the Gators here this afternoon.
All right, and is there an update on the score there? Do we have a score or anything like that? It
is scoreless in the bottom of the first.
Okay, perfect, awesome.
But two are on with one out, so we'll see what happens.
Baseball doing pretty well as well for UCF, which is really good so far. Ben, I know you follow the baseball quite a bit. Have you had a chance to follow anything that happened so far this weekend?
Yeah, they're 6-1 on the season. They went 2-1 this weekend at Georgia Southern, but they dropped 2-3 yesterday. But it was a little bit of a fluky game. They're really looking strong on kind of. They have some great defensive players, great pitching. They're kind of in all to pull a hypelism, I guess, all three phases of the game. But they're certainly looking like a very strong team. They're 6-1 on the year and have an interesting one coming up next weekend at Ole Miss.
All righty, well, we're gonna.
And how about David Litchfield going from closer to starter?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, going into a break here real quick. We'll be right back on Nightline at Night.
If you haven't figured it out yet, I love Tijuana Flats. I would love them even if they weren't a partner with us on the Nightline Sports Network. They have all kinds of great Tex-Mex food, and it's fresh, by the way. Made to order burritos, tacos, enchiladas, chimichangas, quesadillas, bowls, nachos, and taco salads. And if you haven't tried the queso, you are completely missing out. It is the best queso that I've ever had in my life. Absolutely hands down. And the sauce bar that they have, everything from wild to mild in there. Absolutely awesome stuff. Not only do I love the food at Tijuana Flats, but I love the company, a UCF-born company. And they give back to the community with the Justin Queso Foundation. So head to your local Tijuana Flats. Tex-Mex for everyone. Hey Jeep Wrangler owners, have you ever sat in your office at work and watched the rain just pour into your Jeep because the weatherman said that there was a 0 chance of rain? Or you put your doors back on because there was a 100% chance and then not a drop of rain fell? Well, there's a company out there that can help take the worry away and give you the peace of mind to be without your doors. The company's called Life Without Doors. They make waterproof rain curtains and dash covers for Wranglers. Life Without Doors is there to help make the decision to leave the doors at home an easy one. Find out more at lifewithoutdoors.com.
Spice up your company with homemade marketing services from Tasty Gravy Creative. Tasty Gravy serves up a menu of budget-friendly marketing, graphic design, and public relations services customized to your specific goals. Co-owned by a UCF graduate, Tasty Gravy can help refresh your brand, strengthen your online presence, or reinforce your company's message. Contact Tasty Gravy for help with your website, social media, marketing, advertising materials, and more. Visit tastygravy.com.
And now, back to Nightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Nightline at Night with you. I'm Andrew Fegley, live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barlaw, assisting injured veterans get the help they deserve. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036, or visit protectingvets.com. You can also call Travis Dever for all of your New Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636. And if you need a new or used car, truck, or Jeep, you can call me, Andrew Fegley, at 386-736-3000, 386-736-3000, or you can come and visit me at DeLand Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. We're taking your calls here as well, 844-580-9326, 844-580-9326, or you can use the open mic feature on the WDBO app. Once again, I'm Andrew Fegley at AP_Nightline. Got Big Ben Stout with me here at Big Social 32 on Twitter. And we got Jeff Allen from the AAC Report, and you can find him on Twitter at Jeff Allen 88. And so, right, Jeff Allen 88, correct?
_88.
Oh, _88. Okay. Yeah. Jeff Allen _88 on there. Okay. So we're back and we're talking UCF sports. Ben, you wanted to talk about women's basketball to start this off because, man, have they had a good season. Right now they are, 21-3. A little bit of dyslexia here. But they won the American Championship regular season.
They sure did. So they going into the game the other day against Cincinnati, they had to win that one to clinch their first American regular season championship and their first regular season conference championship since 2005, I believe. And they kind of made sure that they took care of business and put them away early. It was 33-6 at the end of the first quarter against Cincinnati. I mean, we were just annihilating them. And yeah, we got to clinch our first American regular season conference championship. And these ladies, as you said, I mean, they've just been on a roll this year. That's 21-3 on the regular season. They have one game left against Tulsa, which would finish the regular season on a 10-game win streak. And just yet another game. It is now 4 in a row where they've held their opponents for under 40 points. The defense from Coach Abe's team is just phenomenal. It's the best in the country. I would say, bar none. Statistically, it's in the top 3 in the country in the most important statistics for a team defense. But I would say that this team has probably the best defense in the country. And I'm just really excited to see what they can do in the big dance. They were also one last accolade for them that they accomplished this week, coming in at number 25 in the poll, in one of the major polls. I'm not sure if it was AP or coaches or both, but regardless, they were ranked this week for the first time in program history. So Coach Abe continues to build this ladies team as a powerhouse in the American, and it's just exciting to see not only what they have accomplished this year, but what they have in front of them as a real threat in the NCAA tournament to take home some wins.
So yeah, with them being ranked number 25, it's pretty much a shoo-in for them to be into the top 20. I mean, into the big dance tournament. I mean, do they have to win the American tournament to be in that or not?
No, not at all. I mean, you simply just the way they've been kind of running through the American this year, you'd kind of expect them to at least make the conference championship game. Regardless, they appear to be pretty much a virtual lock to make the women's tournament. I mean, I guess you never say never, and you certainly want them to finish the season strong, and also gain another accomplishment, which we haven't done yet, is win the actual conference tournament, the American conference tournament. So, we want to make it official. We don't want to leave it up to any type of pollsters, especially women's basketball pollsters, which are really, really kind of out of whack. So hopefully they continue that win streak all the way through the conference tournament and move that into the big dance.
Absolutely.
Hey, Ben, yeah, to your point about the pollsters, I mean, it shouldn't have taken this long for the for UCS women's basketball to be ranked. I mean, this should have happened weeks ago. I mean, it's totally ridiculous. And, look at the, what women's athletics is doing at UCF. Talk about girl power, right? we got a great basketball team, softball, track and field. I mean, this is just outstanding stuff.
Yeah, volleyball's always been great. It's certainly our women's sports are elite at UCF, and they deserve all the attention they can get.
I'm excited to see what happens with this women's basketball team, just because their only losses came against number 15 Tennessee at the beginning of the season, number 14 Iowa, and then Cincinnati. But we took care of them the second time around big time. That score in the first one was 61-57 Cincinnati, and then the score the second time was 74-39 UCF. So they obviously fixed whatever the issue was that first time. I'm
thinking at least Sweet 16, right?
Oh, I would hope so.
Yeah, that was Roger's hot take last week, and I absolutely agree with them. I think they're poised to make a big run in the NCAA tournament. So, yeah, I absolutely agree. Sweet 16 is, I think, something that is a real possibility, and we'll see what happens beyond that.
Okay, well, let's talk about men's basketball, shifting to men's basketball at this point. A big game the other night, win against Cincinnati.
Yeah, and this was probably one of the more complete basketball games on both ends of the floor for UCF all season. So things are really starting to click at the right time. They got some good performances off the bench. I mean, welcome back to the black and gold Isaiah Adams. I mean, he had 12 points off the bench and just really played some big minutes. He only played 14 minutes, but he was extremely efficient in those minutes. Was 2 for 3 from the 3-point line, 4 or 5 overall from the field. But what this game was really all about was great defense leading into instant transition offense. I don't know exactly the total number of dunks that we had in this game, but with Jameel Reynolds, Isaiah Adams, a number of other players, I think we probably had like 6 to 8 dunks overall in the game. At least 4 of those were huge in the first half. Playing great team defense that we've always known UCF is capable of. But what Johnny Dawkins talked about going into this season and throughout the season, trying to urge his team to do more of is turning that good defense into instant offense and getting out and running in transition. We got so many athletes on this team. And certainly they displayed that on Wednesday night, I believe it was. And it was great to see, that kind of that team mentality that we've been looking from these guys on both ends of the floor.
Just got an alert on my phone as well that UCF men's tennis beat Arkansas today 4-1. So things are going well for UCF athletics across the board.
Yeah, we're rolling
on all kinds of different things. So one of the things that I'm looking at the stats from this Cincinnati UCF game the other day, CJ Walker was the guy that led the team in scoring, which is, you don't see that very often. 13 points for him.
Yeah, and he even was making some big shots from beyond the arc as well. He was 2 for 2 from 3-point line. But again, he was just so active on both ends, and he was finding the right spots, and guys like Darius Johnson and even Darius Perry, finding the guys cutting and really and getting them in good positions to create some easy baskets. And in CJ's case, he had a couple of highlight reel dunks as well. And so I just think things are starting to click a little bit since we've had some disappointing losses down the stretch. But like I said, 4 of the last 5 we've taken home. We've got a couple of games left, but it's good to see guys like Isaiah Adams and CJ Walker kind of step up and step into their role in a big way.
Yeah. So go ahead, Jeff. Did you have something?
Yeah, I was actually going to say, to kind of follow Ben's point too, and he talked about the balance on offense. I mean, it was really nice to look at the box score. You got 4 guys in double figures. Darren Green had 9, Darius Johnson had 8. There was just a lot of balance, a lot of distribution of basketball.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that we have been wanting them to do, to play together more as a team, for the entire year. And these things get better with that.
Yeah, and the biggest wild card, I think, is if they're going to have about 8 days off here before they play or they have already had a portion of that time off, so they've got some rest going into this game at Tulane, which is not going to be an easy one. And is that enough rest to bring Brandon Mahan back into the lineup? And he's our second leading scorer on the team. He's one that's certainly when he's on a great offensive player for us. But we're just talking about how well they played together offensively, and how well that our players moved without the ball, and how our point guards found those players in good shooting position. Does that slow down? Does that change at all when you bring Brandon Mahan back into the lineup? Because I honestly feel like there's certain times during this season where Johnny Dawkins has just been trying to get him going a little bit, and it's been to the detriment sometimes of our offensive flow. And so I'm hoping that as he comes back healthy, that doesn't disrupt some of the flow that we have seen, especially in the Cincinnati game.
Yeah, absolutely. Got a little noise there. Sorry about that. Jameel Reynolds as well was kind of a big deal during this game. You talked about him a lot in our little group text that we have. Just really turned it on for this game and played very well.
Yeah, and he's a player that came in with Isaiah Adams last year, as kind of a highly touted freshman. And, he's 6'10", 285. He's a big body guy, and one that hasn't – I just don't think he's quite met his full potential yet. And while sometimes he's played limited minutes, but in some games, and Cincinnati was certainly an example of that, he played some really quality minutes, got some good momentum going in the first half, really active on defense, got 4 rebounds in a stretch there in the first half, but also was a recipient of 2 big dunks that he had. So his aggressiveness and his activity throughout the game, especially in the first half, was big for UCF, taking a big halftime lead and kind of maintaining it throughout the rest of the game.
Absolutely. All right. Anything that we want to add really quickly before we go into the break about the tournament?
Yeah, real quick, I'm just going to say, we're right there on the cusp right now. We're right there with Tulane as 5th in the conference, kind of tied with Tulane. So there might be some tie-breaking scenarios that we can put in our favor this week when we go to Tulane, and being in that top 5 slot for the conference tournament will allow us to have a first round bye, and that's really going to be a huge point of emphasis for all these teams kind of in the middle of the conference. So hopefully we can finish strong.
All right, we're going into another break. We'll be right back on Nightline at Night.
I'm Jeff Allen. Join me each and every week on the Nightline Sports Network for the AAC Report. We bring you in-depth coverage of each school in football, basketball, baseball, softball, soccer, golf, tennis, and more, as well as bring you insider interviews and focus in on the biggest games and news of the week. That's all right here each week on the AAC Report, only on the Nightline Sports Network.
Welcome. This is a promo for the Take a Left at Albuquerque podcast, new to the Nightline Sports Network. You should listen to it. I say things like this.
We need to stop blaming Jerry because we would do the exact same thing if we owned the Dallas freaking Cowboys. Do you know how much fun it is to own the Dallas Cowboys?
My guests will say things sometimes like this.
It's the Lord of the Flies thing that happens when they don't understand that things are wrong, spoiler alert, until Piggy dies.
Lord of the Flies has been out for like 100 years. I don't even know.
Sorry to everyone at home who I spoiled the book for. A book's been out for like 90 years or something.
And sometimes, rarely though, I'll say really stupid things like this. If they don't make it out of the West and the Raptors get to the finals, I will go on either this show or whoever's show and say that Kawhi Leonard is overrated because I have too much evidence of it. New episodes drop every Friday with me and some of my good friends right here on the Nightline Sports Network.
And now, back to Nightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Nightline at Night with you, live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barlaw. I'm Andrew Fegley. I got Big Ben Stout with me and Jeff Allen from the AAC Report. So this is the time where we do our Tijuana Flats Hot Take of the Week, so let's do it. Welcome to the Tijuana Flats Hot Take of the Week. Visit TijuanaFlats.com for takeout or delivery, or visit your local Tijuana Flats. Tex-Mex for everyone. All right, if you know anything about me, you know that I love Mexican food more than anything in the world. And, Tex-Mex or Real Mex or whatever. But the best Tex-Mex period that is out there is Tijuana Flats, in my opinion. Fresh, especially. So Tijuana Flats is one of our partners, and we do this hot take of the week in honor of their hot sauce bar. I'm going to give Ben the first opportunity right now to give us his hot take of the week.
All right, so I'm going to stick with men's basketball as usual, but we essentially, as I just mentioned, we essentially are battling for the 5th spot. And there's 3 teams that are battling kind of for that 4th or 5th, slot in the American Championship. That's Temple, UCF, and Tulane. And I am confident that we're not only going to secure one of those spots, but I am confident that we're going to play one of those teams in the conference tournament and win our first game in the conference tournament. So that's a bit of a hot take and optimistic. I'm trying to speak it into existence, but I think that the Knights can get it done here down the stretch.
Alrighty, Jeff, this is kind of a new thing for you, but do you have a hot take this week for Tijuana Flats Hot Take of the Week?
I got one for you. So UCF trails Florida 5-2 in softball in the top of the 2nd inning. My hot take is they will come back to win this game to continue their domination of the SEC. And they're also dominating the Big 12, by the way, in softball and when they've played those teams. So that's my hot take, that the Knights will come back and win this game.
Okay, well, I'm going on a softball one too, so we're right there. And I normally don't do softball ones, but I think that this softball team is special this year. I think that there's just something about them. If you watch them play, I think it was last week or maybe even the week before, they played against Texas. And man, did they ever have it against that team. Texas was a really good team at the time, I think ranked 7 or 9 or something like that, and they just hammered them. So I'm going to say right now that the women's team, or the softball is all women, I guess, but that softball, for some reason this year, I have a feeling that this is going to be the year. And we talk about this every year, how they always get kind of screwed out of hosting a regional. I think this is the year that it happens for some reason. I think that they are that good that they're going to make that much of an impact on softball this season, that they finally get to host that regional that we've all wanted them to do for years and years. So it might be a bit of a stretch, but that's what hot takes are. So
speak it into existence.
Exactly. Yeah. That's just one of those things that we've been clamoring for years. I don't know how many times I've talked to Eric Lopez, who is the voice of UCF there a lot of times. And, he talks about it all the time, how we always get messed out of a region. All right. That's it for us. We'll be back next week. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Ben. Go Knights.
Charge on.
Charge on.